morning, everybody. It is the 22nd of January. Look at the crowd we have here today. Woo-hoo. We got lots of people. So glad. We got lots of videos to share today. So let's get started. Diane, you got a video for us. Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, this was about a week or so ago. Art festival at the lake in Sarita.
And
Lots of different things going on.
okay,
I had a really hard time with the music because there was no like theme to bring it all together.
okay.
So anyway, I'm open to suggestions.
All right. Well, let's check it out. What do we think of that?
I thought the music was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fit the whole scene, the mood. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What do you think of the photography?
Fabulous.
You do people really well.
I like
Well, it shows. I mean, in all the videos I've seen you do, you really know how to shoot people and you're getting faces and expressions and stuff. It's wonderful. The only thing I would change, and that's a very small thing, the very first scene where you went to the ambient sound was there was only, since that clip was only about 4 or 5 seconds
Yeah.
to go from the mood of the music to the ambient sound to then and then back to the ambient. So if it just that little bit right here, so we got this nice mood going. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're only 4 seconds. I just get rid of the ambient and let them dance. Now, the one I do like is at the end when you had the ambient here. Cause it's a longer clip.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the first one's longer too. I cut it
okay,
a little bit.
I kind of I'm in that mood thing.
Yeah, it's too
We're-
soon. It's too soon.
Just because I'm like, I got this nice tranquil music and it's like, okay, I'd still use the clip, have the same music going, your ambient music, or not your ambient, your actual music. But at the end, this shot definitely had the ambient because it really works well.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
You are you allowed to do that, by the way? Did I give you permission to do that?
Okay, I won't say.
No, you go right ahead. What would you?
The first one, I agree with you, but the second one where you do the needle drop and then you do the ambient music, the ambient sound dancing, then back again, that says, it stamps a big thing on your video, says I'm an amateur.
Oh,
So would you, here's a question, would you then say, okay, I'm gonna run that clip at the very end? So that you're ending with that clip?
I thought about taking them both out,
Oh, I like the
That
action.
works.
because it's just like a shock. The
Yeah,
first one is like a
It's just,
shock.
you're taking the audience in a direction with this mood and this ambiance, and then you're all of a sudden going, oh, I think I'm gonna shock you with this
Yeah,
natural sound. So it doesn't work.
I even turned it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe a thought is take and make this clip the last clip, so you end that way. You know,
Yeah.
all this
that could work-
before,
That could work too.
you know, as just a thought, so you've got this mood all the way through, then the last is the dancing and then fade out to your closing credits.
The other thing is, it's the video, the pictures are really disjointed. You have this lake and these giant balls floating around, and then you have the usual suspects of the art on the frames, that kind of stuff. There's just no continuity, there's nothing that ties. You know, what was the idea of this piece?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot going on and,
Yeah, a lot going on.
and yeah, that's why I struggle with the music.
Yeah,
What-
but I think the music was great.
Yeah. You always pick good music, that I was really.
Pick the bay.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
What would you think of using things like the silver balls on the water as a background to some of the other stuff?
You could have put images in the silver ball. You could have done a lot of things with that. It's like we start out and you're telling the audience, oh, this is a lake and these are really artsy silver balls floating around, and then we never see them again and they're not tied into anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
There's no story.
I know.
But it's art on the lake.
Yeah, if it's art in the lake, then make it art on the lake.
But that's
Now,
what,
what's the
that's,
art?
that was
Yeah,
the,
it's-
Ah.
you know, just a thought though on the folkloric dancers.
Yeah,
Instead of using their music,
Right,
tie it in with the soundtrack you laid in, but go slow motion on it.
no, that'd be nice,
Sure.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just try something a little bit
okay,
different. Cause you know, we're so used to seeing them
yeah,
doing the regular speed.
I like
Sure.
that.
That may be a
Yeah,
twist on
well, Joe was there, so.
Are you blaming Joe? Guilty.
Always blame the husband. Yeah, my husband.
Like the man.
Oh, poor Joe.
Get around.
Hey, I thought.
No, wait, she's, let her finish, so, you,
He was there, so I'd like his opinion. because
Oh, okay.
he saw the same thing I saw.
what do you think, Joe?
Well, I compliment Diane because she at least made a video. When I was there, it was with my wife. And
Who's not Diane?
it was like, I started shooting just because I can't help myself.
Right, of
But I didn't know what I was getting into.
course,
I mean, and then, of course, it's like, well, what would be a theme here? What would we shoot?
right,
There was so much going on.
sure,
That's why he didn't make a video.
It was a spectacular day weather-wise.
yeah,
And it was like, gee, where do we go from here? And so I asked Diane when she said she was gonna make it, and I said, well, what direction did you go? It was one of those things where I was thinking, Kevin, when you've talked about the group going to someplace
mm-hmm,
to cover an event, it would be interesting to see what of the 20 people here today,
right,
what 20 people would do. I mean, somebody would go and say, okay, I'm just gonna concentrate on this, I'm gonna concentrate on that. But it was amazing how much was going on. I have so many videos and still shots from that day. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Hmm.
I mean, it would be editing for a day or two.
sure,
7.
I was very anxious to see what my non-wife Um,
You're
I
white,
wanted to-
you're white from another light.
back to what Phil had said. In my opinion, that's, the story is the first thing you should be thinking about. Every video should tell a
Right.
story,
Sure,
you know, unless you're doing a gallery, and if you're gonna do a gallery, hang it on the wall.
right.
Well, the only thing you didn't have here was somebody with their hair on fire. But everything else was, you know, just, it was the old jeans, throw it in a mixer and see what comes out.
Oh, there you go.
I might be inspired now to
Put something together.
of what I did, just,
Sure.
maybe I'll make it all black and white and.
There you go.
So question, if Diane would go to slow-mo, so you were
Yeah.
using your phone to shoot that?
No, it's never.
Okay, so the video, do you know what frame rate you're shooting at?
No.
Probably 30 frames a second.
So-
It'll be a standard.
How much could she take the slow-mo down to 30 frames? Typically,
She could
if
do
you're
it.
gonna shoot, if you wanna know that you wanna do slow-mo in advance, you wanna be at like 60 frames a second or something greater than that.
Right.
You
Well,
are correct, sir.
If you're gonna edit at 30, you would definitely want to do that.
But you can take 30 and slow mo.
You could go to 50%,
Yeah,
and without it getting too jerky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just do it in iMovie.
Yeah, I mean, just take it down like to 50% speed and just try it and see what happens, just as an experiment.
You can do that in iMovie?
Yeah, you can change the speed of a clip. Not the duration, but the rate that it's shown at. There's something in there about slow-mo. I can't remember where it's at, but yeah, it's pretty easy to do. So, yeah. Does anybody have
I
anything
like
else?
the idea of the ball in the background,
Sure.
but I'm not sure how to do that.
Well, that's something that we were just talking about with Barb about how, Sherry Lee is she's layering stuff and
Yeah.
that's gonna be another one of our little iMovie things that we'll do. We'll show you how to do that. It's really a very easy process.
well, I thought when it opened up with the floating balls, this had real potential. I thought it was kind of cool.
Right,
I mean, it's an art fair and you had all kinds of opportunities there.
And the guy rode a bicycle in the back.
yep,
Yeah,
I saw that.
That was kind of jarring, but. He had a place to go.
All right, does anybody have anything else on that video?
One other.
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
one other
Sam.
Possible ideas. You use the things like the balls and the, Sarita Lake to set the stage. But what's missing and do all those up front and then somehow show where the art stuff is within that area. Kind of as a transition and then focus on the artistic stuff. And that might work.
I think sometimes too, if you have, like, sometimes we get very tunnel vision and we think about just like this item right here. Always shoot some wide shots, just have it, just kind of as a scene setter, so to speak. I would always rather have more content than less content. And since we're not shooting film, it's not costing us any money to press that shutter button. So better to have more than less. Yeah,
Just a comment on the bike riding thing, that you really liked. And I love that. I think, because what people have told me in here so often, when they don't like certain things that I do, but I like it. So, I'm making it for me.
Yeah.
And for my enjoyment, and my audience can take it or leave it. Yeah.
woo-hoo. And actually, you know what, that's a great point. That's an absolutely great point.
Yeah.
You're creating these videos for yourself, for your own creativity and your imagination. And from there, if somebody likes it, great. If they don't like it, fine. I think the thing that we try to do in this group is just eliminate technical issues
Yeah.
that you might have with something. And like some of the suggestions, oh, try this. Well, here's some good suggestions. Slow down the dancers. Great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that, but there's Tom coming with a good idea. So not that he doesn't have good ideas, I'm just saying. Okay.
Are you saying Tom's trying to set a new record?
No.
He's maxed out on good ideas. He can't have any more the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Say.
actually, I picked up one just on the conversation, so I'm gonna start playing with some
Oh, there you go.
opacity things.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's something we can definitely talk about. Okay, good. Well, thank you, Diane. Let's see, Arlene is back. Welcome back from your hiatus. For those of you who don't know, she had a little accident. She's been on the shelf for about 6-8 months now.
Yeah,
At
5
least
months.
5 months. So anyway, she's doing great. It's good to see you back. Why don't you tell us about your video?
So this is a travelogue of sorts from our trip to Alaska. Now, I fell in Alaska, and snapped my tibia. And so,
How many people could say that?
so, and that happened on the last day of our cruise. I fell in the
Oh,
shower.
really?
And so, they had to put a titanium rod in my leg, and I have 4 screws to hold my leg together. And the surgeon said it would take anywhere from 5 months to a year, and so it's 5 months for me. And now I can walk,
Woo-hoo, that's great.
and so I'm very thankful.
So
This
this
is a smart thing. She came back here.
I came back
And had the
and went
work
to
done.
Oro
there you
Valley.
go.
Yeah, Oro Valley Hospital, had a great surgeon. And when I first saw him, I said, I'm no longer in pain. You remind me of Aquaman. Because he had the tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he was Hawaiian and, you know, he just had that look to him.
Nice. All right, well, let's check this out.
Jimmy and I took a side trip that cruised along a network of waterways that snaked through incredible, jaw-dropping scenery at every turn. And yes, Alaska is just as we expected it to be. Beautiful, wild, and exciting. Wow is all we could say. The sea otters were my favorite because they entertained us along the waterway, and I loved watching the otter moms cuddling their babies on their stomach while swimming on their back. Not an easy thing to do, but Mom made it look so normal. Very adorable. The harbor seals were another delight. What expressive and wonderful faces they have. I had no idea that the average male can grow up to 6 feet in length, weigh up to 285 pounds, and can live to over 35 years, while the females can live longer. The eagles were in abundance, and we saw so many flying overhead and also sitting in trees, I think waiting for their photo to be taken. Alaska is bear country and has 3 kinds of bears: black bears, brown bears, and grizzly bears. Alaska also has polar bears. Did you know that the brown bears and the black bears are the same species? Alaska accounts for more than 50% of the remaining North American brown bears and has the second largest population worldwide. The largest population of bears is also living in Russia. The 3 side trips that involved boat rides were just fantastic. We certainly wouldn't have seen any of the sea life or various birds nesting on most of the little islands we passed, or seeing fishermen trying to get lucky. We did, however, get lucky seeing a few whales and their tails. Anyway, we also had fun hiking, seeing totems, beautiful flowers, and taking trams to the top of the mountains to get those special shots. Did you know that Alaska is the last greatest wilderness in the United States and has only encroached on about 160,000 acres of its 365 million acres? That's less than 1/20th of 1% of the state. The rest is still untouched wilderness. You'll also find totem poles all over Southwest Alaska, with at least a few in almost every town you visit. We also took a side trip through magnificent forests, and we got the chance to stretch our legs at one of the most beautiful areas, where we saw awe-inspiring mountains at every turn. Alaska also has 3 million lakes, more than 12,000 rivers, and an estimated 100,000 glaciers. I must say that Alaska is a place that you need to see more than once. Hopefully we'll get that chance one day and see more of this incredible state.
we think of that?
One thing she didn't tell you was that Jimmy had to carry her off the boat.
Yeah,
Oh, my.
Well, he carried me, when I first fell in the shower. He had to pick me up and put me in the, bed and of course, going to the ladies' room, when,
Oh, yeah.
when we got to the airport, what a nightmare. I mean, we're talking a nightmare. I had no opioids, nothing.
Wow.
So,
The doctors weren't very good.
no, they were not, for being Norwegian, no, absolutely not. And so, yeah, the pain was unbelievable. And I thought I was gonna pass out a few times.
Oh, boy.
I was shaking, I was in so much pain. And so, that was my truth.
Oh, boy. Go ahead, Dad.
Well, I think I just would have narrated it all instead of in the beginning, you put coffee up there and then you switch to narration. I think I just take that out and go ahead and narrate like you did the rest of it.
One thing that I know, well, there's a couple things I noticed, but did you hear at the end, you were better with your narration to your music level? And that first bit of narration that you had, that music was so loud, it's almost hard to hear your voice. I don't know, have you noticed that?
Yeah, I had problems with that.
Okay. Well, that's something that one of the things we want to talk about with an audio thing. Usually my rule of thumb is if and I have to really critically listen. I'm listening to some narration and music. If I'm gonna air, I'd rather be a little low on the music. I really want to hear that voice. And especially like with some of the music, it was starting a little softer and then it got ramped up and got a little louder, and now your voice is really fighting with it.
It got better at the end.
Yeah, I think the music was a little softer or something. It didn't fight as much. So anyway, that's something I would clean up. The other thing that I saw was a couple of times you had various, Phil likes to say, needle drops, where the one music is ending, there's a shot that's on screen and it's there for like a second. And then it starts the next music and then you go to the next shot. I mean, there's just little things to clean up, I think. If you like, yes.
I would consider, like, you had the whales and then you had a bunch of other things, and then you went back to the whales, and then you had the otters, and you had a bunch of other things, and then you went back to the otters. Maybe you could consider doing animal shots and then scenic shots, and then just have it so everything's grouped together, so it's not so jumpy. They were great shots, don't get me wrong, but to put them more in order, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was a lot of this chronological in the sense that you kind of followed
Yeah, I sort of followed.
as the trip went along?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes
Then
that,
maybe you should put day 1, day 2, day 3.
but
Or don't feel constrained to.
Or
do it that way.
don't, yeah.
Sure.
I like your idea, Monica, of just categorizing just a little bit more, because it is like the otter stuff. You had the otters at first with the video, which was great, and then later on we come back, there's still shots of the otters and stuff. So it's just an idea.
I took so many photos that it was hard to just group them all together, because, each day.
Calling is important.
Yes.
It's like, are you kidding?
I have a kind of a nit kind of comment, especially at the beginning, some of your horizons were not straight. And that,
I was on the boat, yeah, and
well,
yeah.
well, the other thing was some of the shots you took on the boat were kind of jarring because they were bouncing around. I don't know if your software has any stabilization possibilities.
Sure it does.
It also
Yeah,
probably
it does.
has the ability to
It was worse.
crop and straighten.
You did run stabilization on this?
Yeah, a few times. It was bad.
You had a couple of, there was a couple of the otter shots where they're going along and you're panning nicely with them and not zooming, but you're panning with them nicely. And then all at once there's kind of a jarring and then you're back.
Yeah.
Well, and,
people are, and then they.
right. And maybe the thought
And
is
then the boat.
get rid of where there's that jumpiness and just give me that like 4 or 5 seconds of the nice smooth otter thing. Just to try to eliminate some of that. I think because it can be a little jarring on the eyes when, especially with video where it starts to get jumpy. You do the best you can with stabilization in post and your editing software, and from there, I try to get rid of stuff like that, just because to me, it's like, okay, I'd like there to be smoothness if possible, especially, and it's hard.
Yeah, that's fine.
With your hand holding and you're trying to follow something, we're using the camera or phone.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then I
which does
put
not have stabilization.
yeah, and I put everything in Premiere Pro.
Okay.
That's where you need to get a selfie shot in there where you're elbowing the people, jamming up against you.
And then in the booth, and then, you know.
So the otter shots, were they actual shots or did you pull them off of video?
Like screen grabs, you mean?
No, they were all.
Still photos?
Video or.
Yeah. Some of them just seem soft to me. So do you use Topaz at all?
I do have Topaz, I didn't, only because I guess I was getting sick of looking at all these.
Oh. We've been there before, we'll be there again.
Yeah, one of those deals, yeah,
Did you take that tram ride up?
yeah, we did. Yeah, we
Walk
took the
the
train.
track in the snow?
No, we went in July.
Oh, yeah, there's snow, you know, you hike to the top
Well, we hiked a little bit. We hiked,
after the trip, you hiked up.
yeah, we hiked a little, yeah, we almost to the top. And then I said, I've had it.
Well, I have to tell everybody, I really appreciated your mountain and views, because we went there a year ago and got 7 days of intense fog. I finally got to see them.
It's the hug.
Well, you know, oh, go ahead, Sherry, ladies.
Oh, I missed your fairies
Ah,
and I missed the little bubble
Animation.
words that you do, you know, when
my
the animals
animation.
talk and stuff, but no, it was wonderful. I just,
I was getting sick of looking at all these shots. I said, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that. Done.
Well, you know, to Sam's point too, which is a good one about going through your images and your video, I always try to, as I'm looking through my stuff, and there's a lot of stuff, pick out 1 or 2 shots from each scene, let's say, so that when it comes time to edit, you go, okay, I've got something here that's more manageable, and I'm not going to be sick of looking at it. And we've all, especially like Todd has talked about it. How many hours on the Egypt one you did?
Over 100.
And
But
Sam,
I had over 7,000 shots.
how much editing was yours on your Egypt one?
Well, I'm still editing. But weeks and weeks, I haven't counted up.
Oh, sure. So I mean, you try to eliminate some of those things if you can. It certainly makes it a little easier. It's more manageable. If I'm looking at a folder and I've got 30 images, great. You know, I can put something together that's going to be 3 minutes, 4 minutes max. When I start looking at hundreds and hundreds of images, it's like, oh my God, this thing is going to be however long it ends up being. And I think it's easy to burn out when you do that. So that's just a thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else on that?
I think just on the organization.
Yeah.
One of my videos I didn't do, normally I'll do folders and I'll organize them by either by category or by sequence, depending on what story I want to tell.
Sure.
And then I'll pull out ones that I want to use for the video.
Right.
And that is so helpful to me to do that. And one of my recent videos, I didn't do that. So I just kept going back to all these massive full pictures, you know, trying to find the ones I wanted to use. I go, oh, that's why I use folders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It helps. Yeah.
I would have maybe tried to be a little more informative. There's some beautiful areas that people know about that are in there and they're not labeled in the video at all. Like I know Denali is really significant. I don't know if it was in the video there or not, but
Yeah, we didn't go to it.
Well, it's not that's not a bad idea. Just having a little, especially if you're going to have a few shots, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots for some video, maybe a little tag saying, it's this city or that city or whatever, or a sign, like a sign from the area, something like that. So
Like Glacier Bay.
yeah. Yeah, I've never been to Alaska, so all of it is new to me and I wouldn't know what some of that was, so that's an idea too. Okay, does anybody have anything else on that?
No, but one thing I would fact check.
No, but yes.
Fact check that your statement about the bears. Because I spent a week backpacking in Glacier Bay National Park and the park ranger explained to us about the bears, which I heard from him was different than what you stated.
Cause I got
Yes.
my own from Google.
Yeah, well, there's lots of things on Google.
Wow, I bet that.
You gotta be Bruce on the internet.
That's right. Okay. Ann, is yours on the Oklahoma one? Is that the one you shared with me?
Yeah, running down a drain.
Oh, we're running down a dream. That's right. Who had Oklahoma? You're Oklahoma. You're more things than Oklahoma, trust me. All right, tell me about running down a dream. Go ahead.
Well, Dave and I were driving down I-35 in Oklahoma. And in the early morning, and the sun was casting a shadow on the landscape of our car. So he filmed that just up from the side of the car. And so then, you know, I was trying to find something to do with it because it was interesting footage. And so I found a song that would go with it, Tom Petty's song. And then I edited the clips from the video to try to match the song as well as possible. And so that's all it is. It might be a little too loud. I don't know. Up to you, Kevin, to figure that one out.
Well, we'll see what we got.
All right.
It was a beautiful day, sun beat down, I had the radio on, I was driving, trees went by, me and Del were singing, a little runaway, I was flying, yeah, running down a dream, that never would come to me, working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, running down a dream. I felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rub my eyes. The last 3 days, and the rain was unstoppable. It was always cold, no sunshine. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream. I rolled on, the sky grew dark. I put the pedal down to make some time. There's something good waiting down this road. I'm picking up whatever's mine. I'm running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream. Yeah, I'm running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. I'm running
All right, what do we think of that?
I loved it.
Wow.
It's definitely different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who would have thought? That was cool. Who would have thunk?
Did you use some repetitive clips, right? There was some clips that were the same, that were repeated? Or not?
I don't think so.
No?
I'm not sure.
It looked like they were, anyway. I thought it was a great use of the music with the shadows going on. And one thing is it got repetitive. What I would do,
That's Texas.
you know, running down a dream, it's a road trip, whatever.
Yeah.
I would Photoshop in some great American landscapes, maybe the Seattle Space Needle, Mount Rushmore, St. Louis in the background on like in the sky area as you're going through, like it's a, I don't know, just something to think about.
You know, I just thought it was great.
It was.
The only thing is you had an opportunity for a better ending.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
You had another piece where the car seems to disappear
Right.
and dissolve into the side of the road. That would have been a better ending, but I just thought, so clever.
Yeah.
And the music, I mean, you just did a great job.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Days.
Really good.
Video did you do for that?
Oh, it was, 20 minutes or something.
Just on one day?
Yeah, it was just, through the side window.
Uh-huh.
I was driving. He noticed the shadow on the landscape, so I started filming it.
What time of day was that?
It was about 6:30 in the morning when the sun's coming up.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing you might consider or not is there were times where the car shadow totally disappeared and went on for, lots of, if it just disappears for a second, then comes back, I would leave it. But if it disappears for a long time, I think I might do like a crossfade or something like that. And just pull them together.
I did love where it looked like the car got off on the exit and went through the town and then came back up.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool.
It was kind of very, very ordinary, everyday things, the shadow on the thing, just, little towns of Oklahoma and stuff. So it was really the music, I think, without the music, you wouldn't even probably watch it.
There were
But what
a
I
couple
did
of times,
was try to find a piece of music that would make it more exciting.
there was a couple of times that the music absolutely mirrored what was on the screen because the beat and the different instruments that would come in and then start fading out, and then the car would start fading out too, or it would go back where you get where an overpass, and then and it was like, oh my God, she did such a great job of that. And but yeah, there was some absolutely superb.
The whole thing is very chopped up, the video is very chopped up. But the idea was to try to match that to the music. That was
And you did a great job.
It wasn't a flowing kind of video. It's just a lot of chopped up little clips.
Well, I think you did a good job of a lot of chopped up.
Thanks.
Okay, does anybody have anything else on that? Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Sharon has got, she's cringing now because she's like, okay, this is my first video and I want to find out what everybody thinks and what suggestions they have. We're not gonna hurt you, I promise.
Okay, well, I don't.
Tell us about this video and then how did you edit it, meaning what program and stuff? So what is it, what's the subject about or?
Okay, it is about, I took it in Africa, and this particular, bunch, I think is Zimbabwe.
Okay.
I do wildlife conservation projects in Africa, so I'm usually there 4 to 6 weeks in each location. I've worked on an anti-poaching team for the rhinos. I worked putting captive born lions, trying to introduce them to the wild. I've worked 2 years in the Masai Mara in Kenya on big cat monitoring, trying to get the number of leopards, lions, and cheetahs up in the park. And I've done game counts in Zambezi National Park. for the Rangers. Anyway, so I have a million photos and videos of Africa. So I really want to learn to make some videos because I'd really like my great grandchildren to see this and kind of know what I did to just try to do a little bit to save our animals.
Nice.
So, I only just heard about this Da Vinci Resolve thing from Doug the other day in our Android class. And I decided to play around with it this weekend, which ended up being hour after hour. And trying to kind of, so the music, I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of wind noise because I didn't know how to get that out and only hear the music. I tried to do different little things with transitions and I don't know, I'm just learning and I'm sure, yeah, I don't have enough paper to write every comment you guys are gonna say because it's really hard, but just like, give me a break. Cause I
Don't
never
worry.
heard of it before.
I'll tell you,
We all started
we
at
all
the
start
beginning.
somewhere. The other thing too is Da Vinci is a very complicated program.
Yes.
And,
Come on.
okay, but I'm gonna have you, when anytime there's a Da Vinci question, I'm not gonna have Todd answer, I'm having you answer them.
It's Todd.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a very difficult program and it's gonna take time to learn some of these little tricks. So let's see what you got.
I watched 100 YouTube videos.
Well, and actually that's my suggestion that I've talked about a million times. When you're stuck, go to YouTube, type in the question. Somebody's gonna have a video that will answer that question for you.
Okay.
All right, so let's see what you got here. All right, what do we think of that?
Great photography, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I want you to write down a word, stabilization.
Yeah,
And
I know.
it'll help some of those shots. Are you using a phone for this or a camera?
That was a camera.
Okay.
Write down another word, tripod.
Well, actually,
They were probably taken it from a vehicle, weren't they?
A lot of it is I'm out, part of my job, like on the Rhino project, was to be walking out in the bush and looking for snares, and then I dismantle them and turn them into the rangers. So a lot of them, I'm on foot. I mean, like with the wild dogs, I was on foot with those. And, yeah, so I am, you know,
What
kind of
about
shaky
the
and,
lion shots, do those from our vehicle?
yeah, but.
So, you have, a beanbag?
She might do better with a unipod.
Well, that, but a lot of times from a vehicle, what we do is we get they're called beanbags. You fill them with either beans or sand or rice or something like that. And you put them on the windowsill and you rest the camera or the lens, if it's a long lens, on the bag. And that does the same thing as a monopod would do. And it's, sometimes if you have a monopod inside a vehicle, it's hard to get it positioned so you can use it.
Mhm.
But when you're walking, the beanbag doesn't work.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, a lot of times.
But you can throw it at something if it.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah, you can throw it at Bill.
Yeah, with the rhino charges, you throw the
Yes.
beanbag out.
You just had some great stuff. Wow.
I have hours and hours of things because I've gone 9 times already and I've.
Except most of us are gonna go to lunch after this.
Yeah, and I wonder sometimes, like, don't get too graphic. I try to not get.
No, it's what it's.
But I see, it's what I see out there every day.
The content is great. Absolutely great. And you also did some nice little, some transitions that you did with the music you selected. I thought was really appropriate for that.
Yeah.
Just some tweaking on editing, just in terms of running that stabilization. It's just a little thing you click on the video clip and then you tell it to stabilize, right, Todd?
Yep.
And you just let it do its thing. And it'll help with the big stuff, like with the lion where he scared you. It's probably not gonna help with that, but
Yeah.
with some of just the little stuff, one of the hardest things to do is when you're shooting with a camera or a phone, if you're really telephoto, it's hard to be still without a tripod or a monopod or something like that, some way to brace yourself. So just having that little bit of stabilization may really help that out.
But the neat part of this was the variety of animals.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just nice job.
Yeah, you selected good stuff. Yeah, sure.
Even in these places where you can't stabilize, you've got the major jumps. You can just cut that chunk out and
Yeah.
cross dissolve from one
Yeah.
smooth part to another smooth part.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yes,
That initial scene, with the.
zebras.
The zebras that were playing, I wanted to have that, zoom in on, like make the. I don't know,
Faces.
yeah, to bring it up, to bring it in closer.
Use the camera.
Well, the one,
Yeah.
yeah, but the one issue you might,
That in Da Vinci.
the one issue you might have, you'd have to see. One of the tricks that I've done, if your camera's shooting in 1080, which is high def, edit in 720. Then you can zoom in a little bit more on that image to bring it up. If you're shooting in 1080 and you're editing in 1080, then what's gonna happen when you try to crop in, it's just gonna get really grainy and distorted, so you don't wanna do that. As an example, I now shoot 4K, I edit in 1080. That allows me to crop in on an image and still retain all that detail. So anyway. But
And if this is for your grandkids, I would include more of you
Yeah.
somehow weaved into.
no,
No, I do. That's why you can kind of like, I was here, I was.
well, you could certainly, I guess you could do that. I was just gonna say, the one thing that's neat about it is seeing the different animals, to me, was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. to see how close you are, what's going on. So I think it's more, do you see this as more of, hey, look what grandma did or what great grandma did doing this versus here's where great grandma is. Now she could make the video where she's there and adding some of that in. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just,
Yeah, you are.
I'm slightly poo-pooing.
Well, now I have to go back so that I can get like more of me
Yes.
doing things. Yeah, I do have I have me chopping up a cow with a machete to feed
Well.
our captive lions and that kind of stuff. So,
Wow.
There are
Don't
ways,
get close to her and get her back. Just saying.
One of the things that you may want to do if is to put a caption on what the name of the animal is, because there's a good chance, unfortunately, there's a very good chance that your grandkids, your great grandkids will not be able to see that animal in its setting, or even in a zoo. It might become extinct. So to put the name of what it is, like the wild dogs, they're painted dogs, right?
yeah,
Yeah, if you put the painted dogs and zebras playing or, you know, and I think there's different kinds of zebras depending
yeah,
on the
there's
area.
grabby zebras, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and same way with the giraffes, there's like 5 or 6 different types of giraffes and things like that describe, okay, and maybe, I don't know what the century we're in, all of those areas to me, it's fascinating to find out that, okay, this type of giraffe has this type of spots, and this type of.
Yeah,
giraffe
there's
has-
7 kinds of giraffe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So anyway, that might be something you may, if you have millions of photographs, maybe that would be something to describe what kind of animal it is and what location that animal is from.
Mm-hmm.
And in your own voice too, if you know.
Yes, and in your own voice.
Yeah.
That would be awesome for your grandkids.
Yeah, Shirley, you got something?
oh, there are ways to put, like if you had a shadow of you with this long lens, you know, that could just kind of can be inserted. There's ways to be able to insert pictures or in between shots or something. I really liked Royce's idea because it does make it very personal for your grandkids, you know, with this is what I was, you know, or something, you know, where you don't even have to have one of you filming the zebras, you just a picture of you holding the camera that is kind of cropped and stuck in it off to the side and kind of fades in and out, or a shadow of it or something, I don't know.
Or something.
Or something.
Well, maybe if I get time this week, I'll try to do another little 3-minute one. Hopefully it won't take me 7 hours because I'm kind of figuring it out a little bit. But.
Well, it
and
probably
maybe-
will. That's just the reality of it.
Well, and doing it in your own voice too will get rid of the wind. You can delete that wind sound. And
Yeah.
if you put your own voice in, then it's just you, the music and the photos.
Well, I was gonna say, one of the good things about DaVinci is you have your video track and your audio track.
Right,
And if you don't need the audio, you can separate the two out and delete the audio. So you'll have your music, but you won't have the wind noise or the ambient noise.
You can unclip them.
How's that?
You can unclip them.
Unclip them.
Yeah.
and, okay, because like some of, like when the male lion comes out to discipline the young one, you know, I like that noise too.
Yeah, you want that one, so.
Right.
But I couldn't figure out, because when I hit mute, it seemed like it did the whole thing.
It does
with you.
track.
Yeah, so I would lose that noise, so
So
I
there's.
can figure out how to just do it.
Yeah.
There's something in DaVinci called keyframes, and you wanna watch a YouTube on it. What you can do is you can quiet part of the clip down and then bring the volume up for a section of the clip and then quiet it down again. And what I work in DaVinci also, and I have the track from the clip on at one level, usually audio 1, and then if I do narration, it'll be another full track, and then a third track for the music.
Right.
And I don't know, well, and I don't know if you've come to something called ducking, which is something where when you have something in your narration track, it'll automatically reduce the volume of the music track, so
Okay.
it sort of does the quieting of the music track automatically for you.
I'll have to
And there
look
are
at
all kinds of adjustments to do the ratio of the voice to the music and stuff like that, but you know, as was said earlier, Da Vinci has very steep learning curve. You know, I'm only a few weeks ahead of you in learning Da Vinci.
Wow.
It just takes time.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
told Sheridan, I'm gonna sit down with her for a couple
Oh,
hours.
good.
Just,
Nice.
And to get back to some basics, think about the kind of story you want to tell ahead of time. You know the kind of material you have and what kind of memory do you want people to take from it? Is it a variety of animals? Is it what's happening to the animals? How the animals,
Is what you did,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
you know, think of it that way, then lay it out that way. If you just put a bunch of different things together, people don't take away a story, you know, they just take a.
Cause you told us your story.
Yeah.
So we knew it going in,
Yeah.
when we saw the video. If somebody sees that, they have no idea
What
what you did or who you are or why you're doing it kind of
Okay.
thing. So, but I'm really some amazing footage.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing footage. Just see that. So well done.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Would there have been a way to insert a map where she was at?
Sure.
Taken?
That would be a great idea. It goes back to kind of Monica's point too, just maybe the names of the animals. Somebody might, it doesn't have to be super specific, but just, you know, giraffe or the vultures or whatever it was. And then possibly a location, but the idea of a map is great. Sherry Lee does that a ton on hers. Todd does it too on his. And it's a great way just to kind of show somebody, it doesn't have to be the exact pinpoint of where you were, but
Right.
what country were you in when you took these, you know, or what reserve you were at. Yeah. I'm gonna do we're gonna show one more real quick, because we have lots of videos. And we're gonna save a few of these for next week. Pat, why don't you tell us about your video?
It's a collaboration of 5 people,
Okay,
so they all contributed content. And it's the animals in our neighborhood.
okay. Well, let's take a look and we'll see what you got. What do we think of that?
Nice idea.
Yes, it is.
You notice the one thing that Pat did, which we talked about earlier, was if he had a vertical shot or a shot that wasn't full frame, he had that second image in there, and enlarged or added some Gaussian blur. It's the same image. He's added Gaussian blur to it to knock it down. And well done on doing that, Pat, because that really, it just, instead of it just being a black screen, instead of being just a black screen all the time, that's a very simple trick to take a vertical shot or one that is not cropped, or is more of a square. There was one I saw that was a square later on. He's got his full frame stuff in there. There's one. That's more of a square. And he's added that behind. And that's the way to do it. If you're gonna do that.
But when you're using the stuff behind, don't use video if you can avoid it. Just take a screen grab out and it will be stable.
Yep.
And in this case, adjust one of them so that the top of the wall matches. So that's not jarring.
Yep.
And another thing you can do is to feather the outside of the front image.
Just so you don't have the hard edge.
To blend it in, yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
I teach the neighbors to shoot landscape.
Yes.
Instead of portrait.
That's on my list.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes, yeah, yep.
There was a big difference in the quality of the images.
Oh, sure. Definitely.
I'd also do some Ken Burnsing with some of those still
That'd be
images.
nice.
Several in a row, just clip after clip.
What
Get-
program do you use, Pat, to edit?
Adobe, Premiere Elements.
Okay,
And I had to learn how to do the stretching and the blurring.
okay, well, good. Yeah, but you know what? That's another first step.
Yeah.
Just the little things like that, and then like Todd says, add a little movement then maybe the next time to some of the photos, just
I
to
have
give
to
it a little.
study that a little harder in that tool.
Well, that's okay. Like I said, we all learn.
Actually, and that's in under tools and pan and zoom.
Oh,
You go
is it?
there, yeah,
In Premiere Elements?
yes.
Okay, yeah,
That's what I use, but it's tricky.
Sometimes,
So-
yeah, that doesn't work for me all the time.
Yeah.
Really, I have to make it move
Or
myself.
doesn't do.
okay. Well, and sometimes if it does work, great. If it doesn't work, then you don't do it and you just do something like that.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is a nice way to present it. Okay, we had about 3 or 4, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just, some transitions, especially in the beginning, the pictures came in pretty.
Oh, jarring,
Jarring,
just
yeah.
so add
So
some
just-
dissolves or
Yeah,
something.
just adding a little cross dissolve or something.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a nice cross dissolve right there and,
Yeah, so some of them
Between
added
people's
something.
pictures.
yeah. But a nice simple cross dissolve is just very calm and smooth. It just kind of lets you know that, okay, we're going to something else now versus a hard cut kind of a shot, so, okay. Does anybody have anything else for today? I know we have other videos that we didn't share, and we will share those next week, and I will put those at the top of my list. We meet again next Monday, the 29th. And please come out and we'll have more fun. I'm so glad to see everybody out here. It's wonderful. I'm gonna say goodbye for today. And we're gonna do something afterwards with Royce. So those that wanna hang out can hang out and watch that. All right, see you later. Bye, everybody.